Yo, it's Captain, and I want to talk to you about my first impressions of Wizard of Legend. We played it on stream today. It was a good deal of fun, and I didn't get very far. That's why they're early impressions. But I wanted to talk about it. And I kind of hope to play again. Um, and maybe I can give a better first impressions then, but here we are. But I actually did a little bit of prep today. Just a little bit. So I think I have 4 things written down that I want to talk about. I'll even tell them to you because it'd be fun. And then it'll be really fun when the video is too long and I'm only halfway through. But I like this game today. So maybe last time I had trouble with the game and I said it'd be short because I didn't want to just sit there and complain about the game. It ended up being kind of long. Maybe this one will be short because I like the game from what I played. I don't know. But what I want to talk about, I got 4 things written down. 1, the tutorial's way too long. 2 is the UI and the combat, kind of together. 3 is the starting variety and that you get to start a run with. I should have told you what kind of game this was. And 4 is the in-run variety, which is the variety you're having while you're in the run. Now, runs, Captain, what are you talking about? You didn't tell me what this game was. My bad. It's Wizard Legends. It's been out for a little while. I think 2017 or something. And it is a roguelike in this style of, I would say, like Enter the Gungeon. And it is an action roguelike. And you don't shoot guns. You are a wizard and you use magic spells. You get, I think at most 6 buttons that are different spells, and they act like combo attacks, right? You can equip different spells on the different buttons, and then you can use them. There's a basic attack, there's a dash, there's like a super attack that you charge up. You can use it regularly, but once you charge it up, you use the big version. There's another spell, and then there's just like 3 other just spells. So you kind of, put together your wizard spells, and then it plays a little bit like a brawler, right? You're running around doing that, and then it's got the overworld map, and you're going through like uncovering the dungeon, and then once you uncover it all, or once you find the boss room, you can challenge the boss and see if you can go to the next map dungeon. Procedurally generated, I would assume that's how these things work. I didn't, it looked different. I didn't write it down and check to make sure it was all the same. But yeah. So that's kind of what the game is. I had a good time with it. I enjoyed the action of it. I enjoyed the concept to a degree. It was fun to put the spells together. It was fun to play. It played competently and enjoyably. And I liked the runs. And we'll talk about these in the categories, but I liked the variety. I liked, it held my interest. How far did I get? I didn't get very far. It's kind of, I played, it's probably like 3 hours. It's not very much, like I said, early impressions. And I think one of those hours was like the tutorial. Now I'm on stream, so other stuff's going on. Everything's taking me a long time. But like it was a long ass tutorial. That brings us nicely to our first point. That brings us, I'll just go into the points. That's what I made the points for. That brings us nicely to our first point. As far as a first impressions go, I think the tutorial was way too much. If you go into this game, here, I prepared video again, but just trying this out. Let me know if you guys like this kind of thing. But I look here. There you go. This is me in the tutorial. This is like halfway through the tutorial. It's kind of cute. It presents itself like a little museum, and you are learning how to play, and you're talking to NPCs that are kind of introducing you to the world building and stuff. But it's a little odd because it's not quite the I know I'm blocking some text, but I'm actually blocking my webcam. I'm behind my webcam. the but it's a little odd because it's presenting the world as in it's all long past, right? It's a museum of everything, which is cute and it's fun to go through the museum. But I will tell you, it feels a lot like going through a museum. And when you look at this game, when people talk about this game, when you watch the trailers, it is like a high octane action, casting spells, spell slinging, running around, jumping and dashing, and very exciting game. And it is, once you get into it, it's quite fast paced. But the tutorial isn't. It's a lot of, it's very much being in a town in an RPG, and you're just like, what am I doing? And you spend a long time just like, what is this? What game? What is going on? This doesn't make any sense. And then eventually you realize, oh, it's giving you the tutorial. It's slowly, giving you a few spells to play with and teaching you how to dodge and stuff. But it's very odd. And it goes on for a long time. And I'm gonna be honest, if you give me disregard my running in circles. If you give me NPCs to talk to, I'm gonna talk to them because I think they're important. Right? I don't know that they're not important. This whole when we got done with the tutorial, all right, this is clearly me running around in circles. You know what? That's good enough. Oh, I just made it to the new room too. But it's that's what there's a bunch of rooms like that. They introduce you to lore, or they introduce you to mechanics, or they introduce you to enemies, and then finally they let you like practice some of it. It's like, okay, now run around. Okay, now here's like a little combat section. Here's a little platforming section. And now that I've done it, I realize that if I was to do it again, I could just run through the whole thing in probably like a minute. But I don't know that. I've never played the game. I don't know how important this is. I don't know what this is. Well, it turns out it doesn't seem like it's very important at all. Maybe it's important for world building or whatever, but it seems to just be a cute way to do the tutorial. And then once you get done with it, poof, you all of a sudden end up in what seems to be the real game. But the crazy part is you're still not done with the tutorial because now you're in your house. And now they're introducing you all the little mechanics that are in your house. They're just like, well, here's where, we're going to keep your spells. Here's where we're going to keep, here's where you're going to, keep your record of all the items you got. The general roguelike stuff, the collection things. And you're just like, still things are talking to, when do I get to play? it was absurd. I was just like, I don't want to talk to anybody, but I compelled to click on a person because they've given me someone to talk to. Then you get into the town, which is the pre-run prep zone, because it's all about doing the runs, right? So then you go from your house, which is just a cute little collection place, to the town, which is the pre-run prep zone. There's more NPCs to talk to, and then there's shops. You can like you can buy some new spells, you can buy some items, you can buy some outfits, and so you're doing all this. So you're still talking to NPCs and getting tutorialized, and I couldn't help but feel like they could have just dropped you in a run, shown you kind of how it all worked, because it's not like super complicated, and then introduce some town features to you when you lost the run or won the run. That is how a lot of roguelike. Well, I haven't played a lot of roguelikes, to be fair, but that is how I expected it to go based on other roguelikes I had done, and I think it works smoother. Now, the museum was cute. I thought it was cool. Maybe it has like a really cool like tie-in later in explaining like the story of the game, because it seems like there's something there, but I have no idea. It left me a little bit antsy as I just wanted to get going. Does it matter? No. I feel like you do it once and then you never have to worry about it again. You're just playing the game. And once you're in the game, it's all very smooth, it's very fluid. It's not a big deal. So I'm just like, why is this your first impression? Right? This is the first impression. Why is this your first impression? It's an odd first impression for high octane action game. So there's point one. My second point is the combat. Because well, it's what you're doing for the most part here. Hold on, there. I'll give you some more video. The second part is I forgot to hit play. Now you're gonna see the little play things. The second part is the combat, which hopefully I'll get to here in a second. Boop. And it's kind of top-down action combat. You know, think maybe like Hades, think like Gungeon, right? Except you're not shooting, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It feels good. It's very fast. It's frenetic. The buttons you hit are quite responsive, and it feels like a good time. I enjoyed it a good bit. I enjoyed, the kind of combinations of spells you're doing that you kind of make your own combo. You get to switch them out before the run and during the run to do more interesting things with them, and you can kind of customize it and feel good about it. It felt like you could make builds, which was nice. And it just, I don't know, it felt good to hit the buttons, and it felt good to take out the enemies. It was a little tricky because it is very fast, and there's a lot of hit stun. So you get the jump on the enemies, you can keep them kind of hit stunned and really take control of the fight. But if they get the jump on you, or you miss a dodge, or you let your combo fall off in a bad spot, they're gonna get the jump on you, and you can. There were times where I would just get hit and then just get hit a lot more, which wasn't great. But I assume with more familiarity with the game, you can kind of get used to it and deal with it, and not put yourself in those situations. Because it'd be like I jumped into the middle of a bunch of enemies to take them on, and then I got, I got ganged up on because I jumped in the middle of a bunch of enemies, and I was like, oh, that probably wasn't smart. That probably wasn't the right thing to do. So, but it is tricky. It's very fast, and it's very easy to get hit and then get hit a million times, and you're trying to get out of it. And the problem I had with this kept me being very critical. Well, I mean, what the parts I liked. The parts are critical I would be critical of. I liked it overall. I want to play again. But the trouble I had with this fast-paced action is the same trouble I have with a lot of games that have fast-paced action like this, like Hades I brought up. I thought of a couple of examples during the stream. They are slipping my mind at the moment. But your UI is super important for these kinds of games. You need to know when you're dying. You need to falling off. You need to know when you're dying. You need to know when your skills are off cooldown. That's super important. And as you can see, all that important UI is in the corners. The health is in the top left corner. These are widescreen things, so they're far away. They're in the corner. They're not like, it's not like in the center and up, which is kind of far away to begin with. But no, it's up in the corner. All your skills, which show your cooldowns, as I am standing here doing nothing, are also in the corner. They're just in the bottom far left corner. I guess it's over here on my camera. These are very far away, because if I hit a button that has this it's just all me doing shops. What a good thing. If I hit a button that puts one of those things on cooldown and I hit it again when it's on cooldown, it won't do anything. And I'll sit there, be pressing the button, what's going on? Game's very fast, I'm getting beat up. Right? I have to look down there to see what the cooldown is, to see what's going on, see what's not working. And then like, oh, it's on cooldown. But the time it takes me to look down there, I'm not focused on the screen. It's very fast combat. I'm getting hit more. I had a situation Here, I'll just stand at the shop, so I'll just bring you back here. I had a situation where I had attempted to use a leap spell I had, which stuns the enemies, and nothing happened. So I hit it a few more times, and nothing was happening, and I couldn't figure out what was going on until I finally looked down, lost a huge chunk of my health to look down there and check my... I already lost health because I'm getting hit because my button's not working. I look down there to see why my button's not working, and it's on cooldown, and I'm like, I never used it. What's going on? I had determined after the fact that I had used the spell at an inopportune time. I had got hit, which, you know, hit stunned me, and it ate my spell because, you know, I did it at a bad time. I did it when I got hit. And then, but I didn't realize that. I thought it just didn't go off for some reason. But then it goes on cooldown, and I don't know that, so I'm just hitting it because it didn't go off. I thought maybe it was on cooldown. Maybe I misjudged my timing into my head. And so then I'm hitting the button, nothing's happening, taking a lot of damage. Finally look down, have to look very far away from the combat, taking more damage just to realize it's on cooldown and, you know, visually read what the cooldown is. Because even if I had an intuitive feel for the cooldown or memorized it in my head, it never went off when it was supposed to, so I would have never known what was the remaining cooldown. The only thing I could have done is just continue to spam the button and hope it worked and take more damage because it's not working. This is a big problem. It's the same problem I have in Hades. Pretty much any game should have its most important information in the most, you know, important place in the screen. So most of the time, that's where your character is, particularly in these top-down games like this. You need to see your character. It's actually technically where the enemy is, but in a game like this, it's pretty much right on top of your characters where the enemy is. You need to, you know, you need to see your positioning. You see the enemy, so you can move around projectiles and stuff and not get hit. That kind of thing, very important. And so all the information I need to know should be in the center of the screen where all the action's taking place. Or at least give me an option to. That's why a lot of games, you know, they'll let you put your health bar above your character, under your character or something. And that's good, but I think games should also let you put your major cooldowns around your character as well, so that I know when my cooldowns are up and what's going on. Now, I think the game, I'm saying all this, and I think somebody's going to be like, but Cam, I think the game does have a little hint to tell you when your cooldowns are up, and it's a little flash above your character that shows you that it's off cooldown, which is great because I'm watching this video and I'm seeing it come up, and I think I saw it once during stream, but I didn't really, you know, it's kind of quick, and if you miss it, you miss it, and you don't really know how long it is till it comes back up. You know, you just know, oh, it's ready. So you can, you know, you can get used to that. You can be like, well, I'll know when to use my ability because it's doing the thing. Here, we're in some more action. I'll put the thing back on. I know when to use my ability because I'll just wait until I see the symbol and then I can hit it, you know. But the symbol pops up quickly and then goes, see there was one. You'll see it on the dash. But it pops up quickly and then goes away. I don't know. I would rather just see my cooldown boxes under my character or something like that. That was my beep. That would be nice. So, had a good time with the combat. Liked it a lot. A little bit tricky, a little bit fast for, I don't know, maybe Captain's just old. It's a little bit fast, so it made it tricky and intense, which was fun, but then made, you know, minor problems like the UI being too far away, bigger deals than they really should be. If it's a very slow game, it wouldn't matter. Let's see. That was part 2. All right, so let's do part 3. I hope this isn't sounding super negative. I really do quite like the game. Let's do these two. I think we'll go quickly. And I don't know, I might turn the video off here. Let me know if you like the gameplay in the background. The last two are both related to the variety. I think that's really important for a roguelike. Again, I haven't played very much. It's very early impressions, so you know, take it all with a grain of salt. Um, but it seemed like here we're back at the town. I'll just talk to you. It'll be nice. It seemed like actually, you know what? The shop is a perfect time to talk about this. I'll leave it up. Well, you can see me do the shop. The I'll talk about the in run variety first, which was technically my fourth point. But since we're here at the shop, we'll switch it around. We'll switch it up. You can do in the runs. You have these little shops that you can find, and you can buy all the stuff you can set up the game with. So your spells, your trinkets, which are like passives, and what else? You can even find the armor guy. You can find curse stuff. You can find all sorts of really fun stuff. It all just affects the in run, the things you're doing in run. All right. Well, I guess I just stand there for a minute. Look, we're gonna talk. uh, and it adds a lot. It adds a good amount of variety. Like I said, it's early, but I had a lot of fun. To me, roguelikes really start to fall off when I start to feel like I'm not seeing anything new. When it becomes like, okay, son, now you got to start winning if we're gonna show you anything else. And then I have trouble because I don't win very often. I don't know if I'm just bad at these games or what, but you get to that point where you're not making enough progress to see enough new things, either because progress has become too hard or because you're just seeing most of the new things already. But I tell you, there was a lot going on. You could find new spells in the run from shops and stuff. Can you hear the cat? I don't know why the cat's meowing at me. You could find new spells, so cards, so you could switch them out. You could find guys that would do like, hey, I'll take one of your cards and you can get two more, and it was like a random kind of thing. You could find shops that sell items, which are passives. You could find shops, or all this stuff could drop as well. Get that did cursed items, which had passives that were had a beneficial passive and a negative passive. And all of these things were pretty interesting. I mean, at the start of the game, you would expect there would be a lot, but it was nice because you have a lot of spell cards that you can kind of start with. But you can get those, and you can get enhanced versions in the middle of the run. So even cards that you already might be using, spells you already might be using, are more exciting just because you found them in the shop and you can buy them. The cursed items were super fun. I found I had a sword that was cursed, and it was like if I had gold, then which is the in run currency. If I had gold, it would do more damage, and if I didn't have any gold, it would make me do less damage. So I would be riding high until I needed to buy like a potion or something, and then then I'd be doing not very much damage. But it made me think about my gold in relation to my damage. There was a pair of boots I got that was really fun because it was you move really slowly, but you can dash a whole bunch. And so basically, it turned the whole game into you move too slow to do anything, but you could just dash. You just dash to move instead, and it was really fun because you dash really fast and you dashed a lot. It was a cool game changing item. And I was like, yes, this is nice. I noticed that some of the items seem to have set bonuses. So you could try to get several, you could try to put together a set. And then who knows what that would do. I didn't get far enough. But that's interesting to me. That gives me in run goals to try to put together something fun. I already brought up the cards were more interesting. And then there was, in the other shops. So it felt like there was a lot to do. It's not the kind of game like Hades where you beat a room and they give you like one of three options. It's very much you explore the dungeon, you find the shops, and then the shops give you opportunities to buy options, or they give you an event that gives you that you can do options, like the guy who trades cards with you, that kind of thing. So it was about the more you explore, the more events can happen, the more variety you can unlock. Maybe Binding of Isaac is the better example there, because that one gets really wild and it's all about exploring the dungeon and doing that. I wonder if it was the first to do that kind of thing. To me, this is a roguelike that's in the it's in the it's not super old Rogue, right? It's not a Rogue clone, but it's not the more modern super modern Survivor style, or Hades style, beat a room, take the three choices kind of thing. It's in that middle part when roguelikes were just coming back and expanding as a genre, and they looked more like Gungeon or Binding of Isaac or this game. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is technically the third thing, but it's okay, the third and the fourth things are related, was the start of the run variety. One of the things that I find particularly kind of frustrating about roguelikes is you're supposed to die a lot, right? It's part of it. You're not, if you're bad at them, it's okay. It's part of it. And you just start over. And that process for this game was quick and easy and efficient. It just sent you back to your house. The little counter on your wall went up, and then you could check your collection if you wanted, but then you would just leave your house. You go to town, and here's all the shops for your pre-run prep, and you could spend your meta currency. So you got gold and crystals. The crystals were for after the run, the gold was for the in run. And you could spend the meta currency to buy new starter cards and starter items and starter outfits and things like that. And it was just all set up. It was very quick. You could spend as many crystals as you wanted. So the run process was very quick, but that means you're starting over a lot, right? And one of the problems with these types of games is the starting. I haven't got any of the cool in-run variety we just talked about. I've got my basic setup. That can get really boring. And it was one of the things that bothered me in Gungeon, because it felt like I was just using my starter gun all the time. I felt like I used my starter gun like 75% of the time. Because even if I got like a cool thing, it would run out of ammo or I would die. Unless I was doing really good, which I don't do super great at these games. I was using my starter equipment a lot. What was nice, again, early impressions. What was nice about this, there seemed to be a lot of starter stuff. You could, as long as you had crystals, you could just keep buying a bunch of starter cards, and there was a lot. You had 5 elements to work with, I think, and each one I think is like 36 total for each one, which is a lot of spell variety for the game, and a good chunk of them were starter cards. So I think like each element, so you had like your basic attack, you had your dash, and then you had your kind of big charge up move, and you had just a bunch of regular spells, and they had those for each element. So that's at least like 5 basic attacks, 5 different dashes, and then a whole bunch of extra fun utility damage, whatever spells. And there were a lot of starter spells. I think like all the basic attacks, all the dodges, and probably a handful of regular spells for each element, so that's times 5, were all available as starters. So you could really just, you kind of started with just a few, and then they gave you a bunch of crystals to start with, so you could go over there and buy more if you wanted. And I bought several, and switched them up and just had fun trying out different things. And it was a meaningful reward to be like, oh, I want to see if I can save up to get another starter card, to see, to just have variety. It's like, oh, I don't like this dash, let me try another dash. Oh, I've done this basic attack for a while, let me see if I can get another one. They weren't that many crystals. I did have a little trouble farming crystals because I am bad and I died a lot. But even on like when I did really bad, it was like 2, like where I got like through a couple rooms and died. It'd probably be like 2 of those, and I could buy a card. Most often I got to the first boss, so I cleared out the whole dungeon, and then you got to beat the boss to get to the next one. And it seems like there's 2 dungeons, big boss, 2 dungeons, big boss, 2 dungeons, big boss, and then probably a final boss. That's what it seemed like each run was set up. So I get through the first dungeon and then die to the boss. I think I finally cleared him once, which was cool. And then I died in like the next dungeon really quickly because I barely had any health. But so it wasn't too, I would have liked more crystals so I could do a lot more things. But as far as how quick the runs were and being able to get more of those spells to start with, wasn't that big of a deal. So it seemed like I had a lot. And right, there's 4 buttons. You're starting with 4 spells, so you get 4 buttons to press. You get a basic, you get a dodge, you get a charge up super spell that also functions without charging up, so it's a button you get to press regularly, and another just general spell that you can press regularly. So that's a lot of buttons to be able to press all the time just for a starter, and you can customize them for a lot of variety. So the start run variety to me seemed like it had a lot of potential. It had a lot of stuff to not get boring no matter how bad I am and keep restarting. Um, and that's one of the things I look for when I'm playing a game like this, because I know I'm going to be bad and I'm going to be starting a lot. And I don't want it to be boring. How, where is the variety? To me, these games are the best when a lot of different things are happening, so each thing feels fresh and crazy, and you just never know what's going to happen. That can make it hard because, if they want to make a challenging game, the more, controls and restrictions they have, the more boring it all is, the easier it is to like make sure it's fair every time. But also the more boring it is, and then I'm like, well, why are we in this genre? Why didn't you just make a regular game or like a Diablo game that has procedural generation, but it's not, this crazy? So I really like the ones that have a lot of variety. And it seemed like this one does. I didn't get very far. But it seemed like this one does, and that excited me. The items were fun. I talked about those curse items. Those were cool. But even the regular items had a lot of different things where it would be like, every time you get a crystal, you get health. Or every time you get a crystal, you get some damage. It'd be like, hey, this thing just gives you more defense. This thing makes you run faster. This thing gives you extra dodge. And there was a big page of a bunch of them. So it's like there's a lot of nice things to customize. You could take one item, so you get one passive you like, and you got your 4 spells. That's a lot to work with for a starter build. And so I like that. I felt like that was, plus your outfit, which seemed to just have some bigger passives that affected your character. Like one of the outfits was, they're pretty pricey to buy, but one of the outfits was, you kind of run faster. One of them was like, you're more defensive in general, stuff like that. They were like bigger, the items are passives and so are the outfits, but the outfits seem to be bigger, more playstyle focused, whereas, overall playstyle focused, whereas the items were like a little piece of playstyle. And of course, you get more items during the run, so you can start to chain together all this crazy stuff. So, I don't know. I left, so it seemed like there's a lot of variety, and I enjoyed it. So I left wanting more, wanting to try more, wanting to see new things, wanting to play more, and that's that's a really good mark for me, because I can have a lot of trouble with these types of games, because I just die a lot and feel like I'm not getting anywhere and feel like I'm not getting rewarded. And I don't know, maybe if I played for a few more hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, I don't know what that point would be where it didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. But it felt like just, early impressions, it seemed like there was a lot of potential, which means that I'd probably get a good chunk of time out of it before I got to that point. Ideally, you would never get to that point. It'd always be exciting and interesting. But who knows? I didn't get that far. So we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about the tutorial was too long, which isn't great for a first impression, but whatever, you just do it once. I talked about the combat being fun and fast and frenetic and challenging because of how fast it is, and how you need to stay on top of things or be dodging around, and that the UI can make that frustrating because your important information is pretty far away from your character. We talked about, and then we talked about the run varieties, where you get to have a lot of in-run variety with the different events that can happen, and then different cards and items you can buy. And the starter variety seems strong to me, with the different stuff you can equip and bring in just to start with. So I liked the game. It was fun. I wanted to play again. I want to play more. I probably will play more. If I do, maybe I'll talk about it again, because I pretty much talk about whatever I stream that day. That's how it works. But that's my early impressions for Wizard of Legend. It's been out for a while, but I had a really good time with it. It seemed fun. I'm kind of glad to go back and catch these games I always thought were cool, but I never really got a chance to play. And I had a really fun time with it. So That's my video. Let me know if you're liking the tie-ins of the gameplay in there. Trying to get a little bit in there, but I kind of still view these primarily as a talkie video. I like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna get like copyright or something for throwing other stuff in there. Who knows? But I also just like I don't know. I kind of like the talkie video idea. So let me know. Let me know what you think. Maybe you want more of that stuff. Maybe you hate it. I don't know. But I hope either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this game. It ended up being too long a video like it always is, but I don't know. Maybe it's just right for you. But that's all I got. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. I'll see you around. Take care. Don't make a weird sound, Captain.